Welcome back to Marbella Now. My name is Nicole King.
Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. Hey, 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 it's a brand new day. Halfway twisted.
Welcome back to another week of what's going on behind the scenes in Marbella right now. Well, apart from all the allergies, that is, myself included. My God, I'm so sick of talking with this stuffy nose, but that's how it is. It could be worse. I've seen people with really, really sore eyes, and so if you're one of those, I'm sorry, but at least we do have some sunshine, and I hope that that it passes soon. What we don't want to pass soon without seeing, we don't want to miss, is the return of the Phantom. Once again, Michael Sterling is on the Costa del Sol and he's going to be performing at the Salon Varieties. And I'm very excited to welcome you back, Michael. Nice to see you.
Thank you for having me back, Nicole.
An absolute pleasure. And to meet your daughter, Scarlett. That's a nice treat.
Well, it's a long story there because we started coming here 2013. And in fact, Spain sort of like saved me a bit, because I wasn't like, it's been documented, lots of people have issues with the world as it changes and stuff, and you get a little bit down. I came to Spain and it was all amazing, and since 13 right the way through till 19, we won't mention that word, and then there was a gap, and of course Scarlett's first time here in 4 years.
Wow.
But of course I've been back with the Phantom, Night with the Phantom last October, November, so
yes, but for Scarlett, the change in those years, she's now interested, I'm sure, in a lot more of the really cool beach bars and the clubs and going to, say, Puerto Banús than she would have done when she was a bit younger.
Well,
perhaps.
she can certainly, we can have a little stroll along, and but she's been quite, into her GCSEs and everything. I'm doing very well, which is fantastic.
It is wonderful, and I love that you're doing well. I love that Spain has been like an inspiration. The light that we have here, particularly on the Costa del Sol, it lifts your spirits.
I think that's it. The lights and sounds. It's just took my breath away, and that's exactly what I needed at the time, was that magic. And people ask me, how come then Spain? It's the food, is it? I said, it's everything. It's the people, it's the food, it's just got that bit of magic.
It certainly does. And we're happy to share that magic with all of you. And you're going to be sharing your magic with us coming up actually this weekend. So you might have missed the performance tonight, Thursday, but you've still got a chance to get into Friday and Saturday
night, yeah.
So that's exciting. It's the 30th, the 31st of March and the 1st of April, which is Thursday, Friday and Saturday at the Salon Varieties. Now, I've met you before.
Yeah.
I know what you do. Talking about the return of the Phantom, perhaps you've got an inkling as to what is happening. But you are a professional singer.
That's right.
You are privileged to live off something that you absolutely are passionate about.
I adore. I think if I hadn't have done what I've done all these years for 37, nearly 38 years, I can honestly, I don't know what I would do, because it's been my solace. It's been everything, to me over the years, and certainly through. It's funny, as a singer, as a performer. That's why it's always different, because you feel different days and different periods of your life. So you always grow, and so with it do the songs. And then the new songs, and of course I write stuff. It's interesting.
How did you first get into even considering that this could be a career? It's a big step.
Yeah,
whatever you were doing before, it has to be a big step.
Well, I knew I had the interest there when I was 7 years old. I think I mentioned last time I made my debut on the day Elvis left the building for the final time. God bless him. And I was 7, so 1977. So I knew I wanted to sing, and I thought, this is great. I like this. And since then, I always sang. And I suppose it was about 13, 14. But I think I always knew that I wanted to be a performer, but I had a bucket list. So once I knew what I wanted to do, I wanted to get to the West End, and I wanted to perform a role there. And of course, so
that has always been your attraction. It's been the musical, the on stage, that live connection with an audience.
Exactly, and the magic of musicals in the West End, the people, you can imagine going to a theatre. There's 2,000 different stories that go on that you don't know about as a performer, and that collates in an amazing energy. But of course, music-wise, there's the classical side, there's the rock side, there's lots of different layers to me, you know. But of course, Phantom being the most prolific role I've done over the years, and thanks a bit, Valjean.
But is this the genre that you prefer, when you can really, like, you know, go for it? And
I'm just having a wonderful time now doing that and enjoying all this, like, testimonials, if you like. But also, as people get to know me more, introduce them to other sides of me that they haven't necessarily seen before. And I noticed after the last show, they said, wow, we didn't expect that. Wow, you went to 10 different styles, you know. But so everyone's entertained. It's a very party-like atmosphere. It's very warm, and I can honestly say I've never felt that way. I've had good concerts before, but like last time at the Salon Varietés, and of course, which will, you know, like and tonight, of course, was incredible. You know, the sort of rapport that you get. But I've never got that anywhere else apart from in Spain.
I kind of think that we're starved of good classical music. So for example, to go to the theatre or the opera or the ballet, we don't have it that easy. It's not so open to us here.
Well, you do now.
So I think that's why it's so very much appreciated, and why you're asked to extend your visits when you come, and why the events sell out, because there is that desire. Myself, I'm so very much looking forward to just to feel the passion, the vibration, the connection with the other people in the theatre. I think in itself is magical.
Exactly, and it's people ask how long's a show. It's 2 hours, you know, just shy of, give or take 2 hours. It's, you know, it's really a special time, and it's a time where they can completely forget about everything else in their life and then go down memory lane, because music is memories, and it actually triggers. I find people saying to me, oh, you've just reminded me of something I need to do, and I should have done it 10 years ago, and it's just come to me again by that song you sang. Or it's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. And this time, we're going to have surprises, lots of musical surprises, but a surprise.
Well, I was actually just going to ask you, how have you put together, what is your vision for this show? I know that it's not like the Phantom of the Opera reproduced. It's your interpretation. Yeah. It's your vision. What can we expect, apart from the surprises, which obviously I imagine you can't tell us?
Yes, of course.
Otherwise it wouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah. Well, basically, it's about, obviously, the Phantom being the role that most people know me for, and Jean Valjean, and that's in the show. So those are my hits from the show. But it's also about me as it's kind of like a biopic, if you like, through music. And there is a reason for every single song that I do. So it's sort of put together. It's a concert, you know. It's not a musical, like as you say. But the concept is, of course, with me as the Phantom, and my various trips and journeys through different roles, and of course just through music, through television, through recording, some stories of various people I've worked with, and you know, there's lots. But
you must have some really interesting stories to tell of the people that you've met through your career.
Absolutely.
And I imagine some unique opportunities to learn from other people like yourself. Is it a comradey feeling between you all? Do you find that other musicians are supportive, or is anyone emblematic in your history that's like, go for it, you can do this, Michael,
I've had nothing but encouragement. I mean, I have another show, Stars of the West End, you know, that goes out, and my producer Toby Cruz, you know, we were planning that during that break we had, but that's going to come back again at some point for like a semi-world tour, if you like, or transatlantic. But how can I say, the main thing is to focus on that particular thing. I've lost my thread here. So
we were talking about the special people, or someone that's inspired you.
So basically, they very, I'm going to say, we admire each other, and there's nothing like the feeling when you're right in the moment, and they're opposite you or around you as performers and musicians, and there's that big guitar solo, and I'm looking over and it just moves me, you know.
Mutual
and then I get on, and then
yeah.
that leads into a piece of the song, and I take it where it needs to go, and they're going, yeah. And it's just that creation, and it's never the same, and that's the exciting part about it. It's never the same, and it always has somewhere further to go. And I think, if I did all the music, I knew we'd need 24-hour marathon shows. So I've got plenty more material, in the bag, as we say.
Well, it's nice. It means you can keep coming back, and then we can keep having you on the programme, and we can keep up with your career and the different venues where you'll be performing. How can people follow you? Do you have like a website or where you announce all your gigs and things?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, so I'm on there. It's funny because I've been part of social media for quite a while, but recently, of course, I'm spending a lot of time with my family because I've got 8 grandchildren now.
Congratulations.
Amazing. I know, and it's amazing. Well, it's like buses. You don't see any, and 10 come at once.
Oh, that's just fabulous.
It's amazing. And my mum, and spent time with my mum. She's getting on a bit now, bless her. And so I took 3 months off. So I was a break from everything. I mean, social media, everything, just to concentrate on the family and just.
But you are contactable.
Oh, you can get me on Instagram, and and come and see the show.
Definitely
come and see it. You're going to love it.
You can get tickets at the door, I imagine, hopefully, if there's spaces left. Give a ring to the theatre before you go, just to check perhaps.
Or you can go on the website, which is Salon Varieties.
Go to the Salon Varieties, and book your tickets through there.
Direct through there, and then they'll pick them up in the morning when they'll register it, and you pay like normally credit cards and everything, and then they'll process them next day, and you'll get your email. So the first night
was tonight, the Thursday the 30th of March, but don't worry, because tomorrow, Friday the 31st, you can get tickets, and also for Saturday the 1st of April. No fools there. Not an April Fool's Day.
No, you won't turn up, and I won't be there. I promise I would never do that to you.
Exactly. So definitely go. I hope to see you there. Michael, thank you so much.
Oh, Nicole, it's been a pleasure, and thanks for asking me back again. Lovely.
You're so welcome. I would say we love your type of thing here on the Costa del Sol.
Well, we're going to go further this time than last time. So if you saw it last time, we're gonna go further.
Up another notch.
Absolutely.
Que sean muchas veces. Hope to see you many more times.
Gracias.
Michael Sterling, thank you so much. Don't go away, because I'll be back in just a moment.
Hero welcomes at Wheels Cafe.
Everyone that comes and wants to join our Zero Hero Association, they will have free non-alcoholic drinks at our venue at any time.
Hi guys, Ross here from Hogan Stand. Proud to be a member of the Zero Hero campaign, and we recommend everybody. Nobody drives drinking. Everybody who drives a car doesn't have any alcohol in their system, and we're proud to sponsor the Zero Hero program.
We are we are.
I'm delighted to welcome my next guest, because the topic is very much up my street. Those of you who know me will know that we have the United Nationalities of Marbella Summits, and we're always trying to hashtag better together, connect charities with charities, bars with different charities, businesses, schools, keeping us all supporting one another so that everything works better. Well, there is an event coming up in Puente Romano, organised precisely to raise funds for different charities in our local community. Some of those you will know more than others, Kudeka, for example, and Diksha, they've been on our programme frequently, but there were others that I hadn't heard of, and I know that this is going to be an exciting event, because it's not just the event, it's what's going to happen to raise funds simultaneously. So let's welcome Berta to the programme. How lovely to meet you again. It's been a while since I've seen you.
It has. I have worked for quite a few years with charities here in Marbella, and maybe that is why.
Exactly, because charities are a big part of our resident infrastructure.
Yes.
It's only when you have something happen to yourself that you realise that you need help, and that's when the charities come up. but we want to make sure you know about them so you can share the information.
Mm-hmm.
You have an event coming up, Berta, which you are helping put together. Your personal charity is one of the beneficiaries, together with,
Yes.
as I said, Kudeka, Diksha,
Aguja Solidaria,
Aguja Solidaria.
Hug in Nepal.
Okay.
It's a charity in Nepal as well. We have the Rotary
San Pedro.
San Pedro de Alcántara. And, oh my God.
I mean, but it's a very nice mix of causes.
Yes.
So explain a little bit, if you will, the setup of the event and then what else goes around the event, because it started in a very curious way with a couple meeting up on an adventure, and now the adventure continues and going to also have this event. So
That's right. Well, it all started last year when I was doing a motorbiking trip in the Himalayas. And the culture over there is amazing. And obviously there is a lot of need in there, especially education and children, which are very close to my heart, have always been. So arriving back in Spain, I decided that it would be a very nice idea to do a motorbiking trip from Spain all the way to Nepal, passing via India. And at the same time, raising awareness of all the different cultures and raising funds for the charities involved. We've chosen 2 charities in the local area. Aguja Solidaria, they started in the pandemic, sewing masks. They sold thousands of them for free.
but this is your charity that you're on the committee with.
I'm in the committee with Aguja Solidaria. It's a great honor because it's a very local project. And now moving on to education, funding children that maybe they have a lot of potential, but the families don't have enough money to put them through a good education. And then here also Kudeka, who doesn't know Kudeka? Obviously,
But in
helping.
case you don't, it's a cancer hospice and they have teams that go and visit people at
Yes.
homes. And I know from so many, unfortunately,
Yeah, I
so
know.
many personal references
Unfortunately.
that they really do come through when you need it. So
That's right.
Yeah.
They do come through every time. So Kudeka and Aguja Solidaria are the 2 local charities supporting the event is supporting. Then we have 2 charities, one in India, Diksha, Yovanka, you know, and Hug in Nepal. They're both dedicated to education projects in India and Nepal. And then we have the Rotary San Pedro de Alcántara, who unites the world. That's why. That's the reason
It gives
for
you
the
that
name.
contact then wherever you go around the world with that Rotary
Exactly.
for support and obviously...
For support, so we will be promoting the charities and the sponsors that will sponsor us throughout chambers of commerce and embassies when we do the motorbiking trip next year.
So who's going to be doing the trip with you?
It's going to be Alvaro from Hug in Nepal.
And how long is the trip going to take you? Tell us a little about the planning.
Well, we've planned for 50 days, but anything could happen, so it could be more.
It could be more.
I wouldn't think it would be less.
And the event that's coming up on the 21st of April?
The event is coming up on the 21st of April in Puente Romano Beach Resort, Salón Andalucía. But we are doing an event that is actually a bit different to what we are used to in Marbella, you know, the typical gala dinner, 3 courses. We are trying to do something different. So we have a whole list of artists, local artists. I've got them written down.
You may...
Yes, I've
I
got
don't
them
normally
written
let
down.
people have notes on a
I know.
clipboard, but I know that you really want to
I
make
know.
sure you don't forget
I really
anyone.
want to mention them because they're doing this for free for the event to raise funds. And it's our very own Yanela Brooks. Who doesn't know Yanela?
Wow, that's quite a catch.
Yes, quite a catch. She's amazing. Orden Definitivo, they are an amazing band, so popular with the Spanish crew, and you come to the event and you'll love it. You'll be dancing till the early hours of the morning. Then we have Julia Shevenko at the ballet, the West End singers Lucy Intriste and Andrew Edmondson.
Wow, wonderful.
Yep. Then we have Thomas Bickham, dance star singers and dancers, the Cellophane acoustic cello, and DJ Blast Factory.
Wow, amazing.
That's amazing. And then obviously we have quite a few sponsors that are providing an amazing array of tapas, jamon serrano, cheese,
Like a mini concert
cava.
then. It's really going to be a mini concert with
It's a
all
mini
different
concert.
types of music. Whereabouts in Puente Romano is it going to be?
In Salón de Andalucía.
So it's in the Salon Andalucía.
Yes.
Oh, it sounds like like a wonderful evening.
Yep, it's going to be the stage in the center, and people can just dance, and it's not like a sitting down event. There will be tables and chairs, of course, but it's more having fun. Informal, more having fun.
It sounds absolutely
Yes.
delightful. My gosh.
It's on Friday.
So glad you came on the program to explain.
Yes.
Because it is certainly different to the norm for being in the
That's right.
Andalucía room at the Puente Romano.
That's right.
Oh, fabulous. So you've got an amazing lineup. I didn't know all of them, but the ones I do are just spot on. So I imagine that the quality of the other performances will be equally as wonderful.
It's all been directed by a very well-liked and amazing lady called Sherry, that she didn't want me to mention her, but I have to say thank you to her.
Again, when people volunteer their time like that, it's
Yes.
quite wonderful.
She's
So
put it all together. She's an expert in West End shows. So she's going to make sure that it's down to the T.
And that's the nice thing about our community. Everybody giving
Pulled
their
together.
time, their services, their knowledge, their experience
Yes.
to ensure that when one of our community comes up with an inspirational idea, we can all get on board and
Yeah.
we can all support it. Because together it's amazing the things that we can accomplish. Well, I'm really happy that everything is
I want
going
to say
plan.
thank you to John Thompson from Puente Romano. I mean, his help has been invaluable. Thank you, John. And I want to say thank you to Maria Jose, who is the president of Aguja Solidaria. I mean, without her help, it would have been impossible. She's been pivotal for organizing everything. So, but thank you to so many people involved. I mean, if I just went on and on and on.
You'd had to have brought a whole...
You'd probably throw me out the
you have so many
program.
pages.
But thank you to everyone.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure to see you again. I'm
Thank
delighted
you.
that you're organising such a nice, novel and inspirational event coming up on the 21st of April. Contact Puente Romano and just book your tickets now. Do you know how much the tickets cost?
The donation is 125 euros, but that includes, of course, dinner, canapes, cava, wine.
A real
the
five-star
music.
affair.
Yeah, a real five-star affair.
I mean, just starting off with Yanela, I mean, it's like well worth every penny, and at the Puente Romano, no less. So quite fabulous. Berta, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And I will leave some tickets with you. So if you want to call the show, you can book the tickets here.
Wonderful. Fabulous.
Great.
Thank you so much. Don't go away, because we're back with more amazing things going on in our city in just a moment.
G-Wine is happy to be Zero Hero partner.
How cool is that? G-Wine.
Thank you.
When I'm the designated driver, I think it's only fair that I get to choose a Zero Hero venue that rewards me with free soft drinks. My friends all get to choose and booze, and they feel safe going home with me. Make sure that you get your reward for being the designated driver. Why pay if you don't have to?
Joining me now, I'm very honoured to say, is a gentleman called Mark Ballabon. He is a philosopher, he's an environmentalist, he is also an author, and he's written several books, but the one we're going to be talking about today is this one, and I love the title, Home, My Life in the Universe, but we was just mentioning, I love the colour. This purple is just so empowering, and it's just so calming at the same time, and you were saying, Mark, it actually does have like a reasoning behind it.
Yeah, well, I love the colour purple or purpura, and it's got quite history going back to the Phoenicians. There's sayings with purple, like being raised to the purple, which is to do with being made into a cardinal. But I just love the colour, and I just gave the illustrator that as a reference for the cover, and that was the result. And it took him about a year to do that one.
Well, to get a book cover right, they say never judge a book by its cover. However, one knows that the cover is very, very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
As important as the content, because if you can't get people to buy it or open it, you are an interesting human being, I have to say. I've loved looking a little bit into your story, and particularly knowing that you're here talking to schools. Again, our United Nationalities of Marbella Summit addresses the lack of opportunities for careers and internships for our youth here. We have a terrible issue of depression, and suicide prevention facilities are a must, which we're working on, and many other things like an international youth centre. And to know that you come here talking to our kids about self-confidence, their place in the universe, the environment, issues that really are just so delicate on the one hand and yet so important to discuss on the other.
Yeah. No, that's right, Nicole. And I mean, on one level, I wanted the story to be, I wanted it to be a coming-of-age story, because there's so many issues that young people coming up to puberty face. So, but I wanted it to be an interesting, pacey, coming-of-age story. But underneath that, I wanted to focus on contemporary issues that they're facing, like body image, like how to deal with conflict, how to deal with bullying, and obviously a lot on the climate crisis, which I've been researching for half my life.
How did you become to specialise? I mean, specialise, you cover a lot of different fields, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to home, our life in the universe, where we fit in, whether it's spiritually or economically, environmentally. You're a philosopher above all else, I suppose.
Yes.
That would be the one thing if you had to put down a job description.
That's right, and the word ecology has, the root of it is home. And what I wanted to do, Nicole, was tell a story about how important it is, whatever you're facing in life, to come from a place inside yourself, a home, where you feel at home, or as they say in French, se sentir bien dans son pot, where you feel that you're worth something. You feel that you can believe in yourself, you can trust in yourself. And so for me, everything to do with the climate change and climate crisis, for example, was to do with that climate inside yourself. And I began to realize that all the efforts to, react to, and activism to do with climate change, which I've been involved in for a long time, I started to realize that unless there is a climate of trust in people and between people, nothing is actually going to change. And as we see from all the COP, the COP conferences, the atmospheric carbon dioxide goes up, the conferences keep going on, nothing fundamental is changing.
They'll fly there in private jets.
Well, exactly. And one of the messages in Home, there's a climate activist, Kaylee, in Home. She's a little bit older than the protagonist, Leah, and she's got some really good ideas. And one of them is that all the leaders that are coming to the climate conferences need to show that they have reduced their carbon footprint by 50% in the last year. She's got some very simple ideas, and those ideas are all based around leadership, self-leadership. So some of the workshops I've been doing here in Marbella are on self-leadership, because for me, that is where the changes are going to happen. That what I do and what you do when we go out of the studio sets an example. It's not just talking about it, it's actually living the life of it. Like everything I'm wearing here is organic cottons and fibres.
Good you. Good on you. May I ask why you've chosen perhaps to tell Leah's story as opposed to Mark's story in these examples?
Well, the thing was, Nicole, I wanted it to be relevant to young people at an age where they really are starting to become self-aware, they're trying to build self-esteem and so on, where these issues aren't, it's no longer just they're going through a phase, but actually they're right head on with that. So I had to write I had to discover around that age range, and it was very unique because I worked with 7 young editors when I started the book, from Sage in Toronto to Ruby and Ella in Auckland, and I would send them drafts of it because my objective was to write myself out of the story but leave the philosophical underpinning of the story.
The wisdom of years without being able to identify that, oh, don't go preaching to me, you adult you.
Yeah, exactly, exactly, because, as you probably know from your own family or children, that, being lectured at, didactic preaching, they run a mile. So I had to get inside the characters. So every character in the book is based on a real character that I know or I observed, or the youth leader in there who plays a mediating role when Leah gets into a big conflict with Kaylee, the climate activist. They're all based on real people. He's actually a refugee. So, you know, that was one of the most heartbreaking points in writing the book, was actually getting inside some of these characters, and particularly Tongi in the book, who you know, was based on a real refugee who came from Chad in Central Africa, through on a boat from Tripoli across Italy, France, and on the underside of a lorry through to England.
You have obviously privilege, knowledge and experience, and I think it's quite lovely the way that you've chosen to be able to get that out without being the preacher. But obviously you have a knack of communication and the interaction that you achieve when you do your workshops, whether it's 7, 8, 9-year-olds, whether it's older teens, is obviously a gift that you've got. And I do know from the Red Cross and from different sources that one of the biggest causes of the children's depression and the wanting to perhaps end their own life is this feeling of isolation.
Yes.
And that's curious because they've all connected all the time. But as we feared, I think, parents, that it's not connected in the healthy way.
Yeah.
And the extra bullying and influence that they're getting for this, to stop life, to take a selfie and all this kind of thing is. Can you give us an outline, because you've been to a lot of really cool schools, you know, I'm very proud of our schools that they welcome people like yourself, to what one of your events, one of your workshops is like, how you interact with them, what you ask them to do, what do you ask them to think about?
Okay, well, taking a couple of things you said, Nicole, when I introduce myself, I say I'm a philosopher, you know, and do you know what a philosopher is? Now, often they don't. Well, they say it's someone
Socrates?
who... Well, no, often they say it's someone who collects bones or something. It's like, okay. But then when you start to build into it and they see that philosophy is based on philosophy, the love of wisdom, you start to get... And you know, whether it's year 7s, 8s, 9s, my last book, I wrote an essay called We Are Born Philosophers. So I think everyone has their philosophy, whether it's conscious or not. I then say I'm an author, an environmentalist, and I ask them what they understand those terms to be. And I start to, one of the philosophies that's based on, that I hold, is that every relationship that you ever build in your life is based on your relationship with yourself. So I take them through, everything is interactive because I was trained in theatre, dance and music. So everything is a very live, interactive experience for them. So one of the things I did today was at Aloha College, fantastic school.
Yes.
And one of the exercises, they wanted me to do a creative writing workshop based on home, based on my book. And one of the first exercises I did with them was I said, you know, how many times have you written your name on a sheet of paper? And they go, oh, you know, hundreds of times, sir. Oh, thousands of times, sir. And I said, okay, but you've never written your name like you're going to write it now. So I have a piece of paper, coloured pens. I said, just write your name exactly as you want to write it, your way, your style, your character. Don't look at no miras tu vecino, just look at, you know. And they do these amazing things. In one school I went to, this young man did his name, Paul, on an origami ship. And suddenly, all their creativity comes around. Then I say, okay, here's the astrological signs. You know, whether you believe it or not, doesn't matter, but do your I mean, I've studied astrology half my life, but write your sign, look at your fingerprint, write your fingerprint. So all of it is to bring these young lives into a different value. So it's all about coming home to yourself, because one of the philosophies in the book that I explain is how can we protect the planet unless we treat her as a home? And of course, you wouldn't dump your rubbish in your own home, would you? So that's one of the philosophies that underpins the story.
I have to say, I like that one. I know that one of the things that my pet peeves when I've moved back down to Marbella full time was seeing people who are not on the town register, on the padron, and they complain about papers on the streets, and you've got hundreds of thousands of tourists coming in.
Yeah.
And yet it's our home. We live here. Bend down, pick it up.
Exactly.
You know, it's like it's our home. We should appreciate our home. But I think a lot of things we take for granted because we live perhaps in a very fast world.
Yes.
And we don't stop to philosophize.
Yeah, because for philosophy, Nicole, I mean, everyone's got a philosophy. When you do this program, you have your own philosophy of how you would do it. And I think developing a philosophy, like consciously, like using your consciousness, this is the way that I want to be. This is how I want to lead my life. I think is so important for young people, because I see a lot of young people burning themselves out also on things like climate activism, which I think is a really important part. But there's so many different ways that you can, like in the example that you're speaking about. So in a lot of schools I go to, I make the suggestions, do you have a kitchen garden? Do you have, growing? So connecting with the planet, watching seeds grow, very simple things that even if it's not a very wealthy school, that you can do in a window box, the clothes that you wear, everything that you consume, to make sure that you know where the origin of it is. And so many simple things that you can do. But the philosophy of that is leading by example.
It's wonderful. To finish, as it's such an important thing that you do, particularly the aspect of reaching our youth, I think it's just wonderful on all the aspects. What would be the one question you would like everyone to ask themselves? Parents, children, because a lot of times I think the parents are missing it and they push the kids way too hard on things that have really no value whatsoever in the bigger scale of things, and they compare their children to other children and waste so much time and things that later on in years you actually get to realise that really don't bear that much value. What would be the one thing you would throw to all of us to think about?
I try and answer this as simple a way as possible, because when I was 8 years old I had massive questions. But I think specifically germane to what you're saying is, I think the question would be, what kind of a person do I really want to be?
Good question. Good question. My God, not often that I'm speechless, but I'm totally speechless. It's a very good question, very simple. Who do I want to be? What kind of person do I want to be?
Yeah.
Not easy often to answer, particularly youngsters, because they are pushed in so many directions. So where can we get the book?
Well, it's available, obviously Amazon, Waterstones, everything online, but there's also the English bookstore, Hannah at the English bookstore. So she's been going around with the team that I'm here with.
Have you been doing any book signings while you're here, or has it all been
work?
It's
been talks, workshops, and then book signings. But I love the book signings because I get the chance to have a little chat with the young people. But so the English books, is it English bookstore?
Yeah.
I think Hannah at the English bookstore, or anywhere online.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you ever so much for being you. Well, it's always nice to have people like Mark in the world, and now you have home, my life in the universe. Yes, very good. Congratulations. I love the colour.
Thank you very much.
Love the colour. So don't go away. We'll be back in just a moment. I'm still sitting here. Who do I want to be? Good question. Good question. We're back in a moment.
Zero Hero, welcome here at the Gaucho de Banús.
Welcome to Lemongrass, Doña Lola. Thank you very much.
Hi guys, Kazatua is proud to welcome the Zero Heroes. So come on in and enjoy free soft drinks for anyone who is the designated driver. Thank you, Nicole.
So here we are at Everest. Very cool. Yeah. Stickers going up.
Hi, my name is Govinda. I'm from Everest. Welcome to Zero Hero, to Everest Fusion, to enjoy your cocktails, drinks, and happy hour as well. And food, of course, is delicious. Thank you.
Welcome to Sister Taperia.
Perfecto.
I am delighted to welcome back to the program Charisse Prieto. She is a lovely young lawyer, originally from Madrid, but well settled into Spain now, into Marbella for what, some 10 years or something like that. She has an amazing client list, including myself. It was absolutely amazing with little things that have come up that I've needed help with. And I'm delighted to see you again.
Hello, Nicole.
It was also, we bumped into each other at Javier Sancho's networking lunch at the rugby club, which was fabulous.
Yeah.
The only thing is, those of us with our allergies, everything that's outside is like, oh my God.
It was a spring day.
It was a beautiful spring day with everything that a spring day springs.
Like everything.
Everything. Anyway, you come here today specifically to talk about the latest resolution regarding us Brits specifically with our driving licenses, those who still haven't changed their driving license, although they are now qualified as residents, particularly, right, Charisse? This is a big change that's now come through.
Today we have a good news for the British resident here in Spain, because after the 16th, I think, of March, they can change the license without any test, theoretical ni practical. They can go to change directly the license driver. It's very good for...
But there's a limit to this, right? It's not ad infinitum, it's just another 6 month extension.
Exactly. After the 16th of March, after 6 months, they need to have the change of the license.
Now, we had, I think, 3 years to get this together.
Yeah.
So 6 months may sound like a long time, but if you didn't do it in the 3 years that we had to do it, now would be the moment. Because in the interim, just until this resolution came through on the 16th of March, I know my son-in-law hadn't done it before, and he had to go to Malaga. You're doing all the different tests.
Exactly.
You have to do the written test, you have to do the
practical
test, you have to do medical tests.
And it's very expensive.
And it's expensive, and it's time-consuming, and you have to go, and then you have to pick things up, and you have to go
back. And the people be very nervous to be there,
And then you're driving also in a foreign country with a foreign driving instructors, doing exams, and really, if you do have this option, because you're a resident, to change your driving license to a Spanish one, 6 months and counting.
Exactly. I think that is a very good opportunity, and of course, for British residents here in Spain, it's very good because they can change and without any problem, and they can drive with their license in UK.
Regarding those people who are not residents, we were just saying that true to form, at the moment there are conflicting information regarding what actually is appropriate. So
it's not very clear, because some information say that after you're resident here, you have 6 months more to change your license. But another information say that if you are not resident in the time when the agreement go ahead, you have to go to have the exam, the theoretical, practical, and everything.
So if you're a newbie, if you're just arriving, then you have to do the whole process.
Exactly.
But if you already have your TA or your NIE, then you...
The resident, not the NIE. That you have to be resident here in Spain.
A resident in
with
Spain.
With the
TA.
Exactly.
Okay. All changes.
Exactly.
I was devastated.
Or any other residence or visa or something like this.
Okay, so if you are a resident, you have the right, and if you're not, or you're just arriving, you've got to do the whole thing. It's really, as a lawyer, I'm sure you have seen the most amazing, obscure repercussions from Brexit.
Yeah, but I think that we are changing, and we are going to change more in the future, because of course it's not normal for the British resident that we have here, or many British people that wants to come to the Costa del Sol or to Spain, and we need to help them and to try to be more easier the life there here.
Without a doubt, but I do understand that the Spanish administration, that when we chose to leave the economic European community, we couldn't expect to have exactly the same privileges and benefits. I'm not Spanish. I say I'm Andaluza por moci, but even I can have that empathy, and even I felt that we deserved to have our things held up in customs, and we deserved to be treated differently because we made a stand. So although I was against it and I don't support it, I do have to say that I empathise 100% with all the people who've had to deal with the new permits, the new licenses, all the extra paperwork in customs.
Exactly. After the Brexit, everything was more difficult for the British, and it's not normal because I think that you feel like it's European and you need to have more rights than, for example, if you are coming from USA, because you are very close to Spain. So I think that it was a strange moment in that time, but I think that we are changing.
We'll get through it.
Yeah, of course. It's necessary, of course.
Of course, and people want to keep coming. A lot of people are still moving to Spain, even the British, so people are finding the way to come.
Exactly.
Maybe like separating a little bit the people with more finances than others, but I'm sure our Marbella city isn't going to complain about that.
It's the best place.
Before we finish, we've covered the new driving license law, but just so people who haven't perhaps seen you before on the program, just a quick rundown, the type of services as a lawyer that you offer from your bufete, from your
law firm.
I know it in Spanish.
Well, okay, I have practiced in international law that, for example, if you need the resident here in Spain visa, for example, for British people, or if you need help with NIE or account bank, of course, if you have any problem in the court, I can help you with contract, family law, and of course, for the area that we are, real estate. If you are thinking to buy or sell your property, I can help you, of course.
And obviously the advantage that you have great English, but you also have that real local knowledge and that international experience. But also I love that you come from Madrid, so you have that city mix with the local mix, with the international mix.
Yes, I got a good mix.
And also, when you go to a lawyer, it's nice that you're someone as sweet and as lovely as you, because a lot of times I think when we think of lawyers, you think of a lot of money, you think of very serious. And it's like, oh my God, and yet it's the opposite. So I can honestly say that you get advice and then very reasonable fees to do all things that come up, and you never know really what's going to come up nowadays.
Exactly. I try that my clients feel confident with me and everything very easy, because the process with the lawyer is not the best situation that you are, but I'm trying that to change the mind of my client in that point.
And I also like the fact that when you do translations, although your English is perfect, you have a company, Marbella Translators, because I'm always saying this, even if I speak English, I am not a translator. There is an art, there is a gift, there are certain requirements to being an official translator, or even if you're translating the brochure or information for a hospital prospectus or
documents
guide,
for the court.
It really is the reflection of oneself. So I'm another testimony to your the quality of the service that you give.
It's very important, because, for example, for the process of resident, we need to translate the document that you have from UK. So I'm working with Marbella Translator, and I'm so happy with them.
And we are going to be seeing, right in a few minutes after the break, Barbara herself from Marbella Translators as CIT Marbella Guest of the Week. So that worked out quite perfectly. Charisse, thank you ever so much.
Thank you very much.
Lovely to see you again. And Charisse will be back on the programme shortly, keeping us updated on the ever-changing laws of Spain. It's like, never ceases to amaze me. Don't go away. Back in a moment with Barbara.
Hey, hey.
A new partner of Zero Hero.
Alright guys, so I'm the designated driver tonight, so I'm going to choose the Zero Hero place. So all of my soft drinks are for free. And if you want to go somewhere else, just check out the Facebook, Instagram or the zerohero.es website for any of the bars, discotheques or restaurants on there. I'm happy to go anywhere you want to go, as long as it's Zero Hero.
Zero Hero, welcome to the Secret Garden. We welcome you.
Delighted to welcome back to the program one of my favorite people, not just because she's a super nice person, but because I appreciate how important it is to have a good translator. And even if we speak the language, we shouldn't be doing translations for restaurants or businesses, because it is a skill that professional translators have. And I am delighted, Barbara, that Cherise Prieto, who is an amazing lawyer, and I think it's a testament to her excellence that even she, who speaks great English, knows that translations need to be done with translators. So congratulations.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you for having me here again. It's marvelous seeing you again. And yes, of course, it's incredible working with professional lawyers like Charisse, who rely on professional translators, especially for official sworn translations. It's very important to work with professionals. So
I imagine in Marbella, I know how I feel
Yeah.
when I go places and I see some of the translations, or even when I've had a hospital come to the program and give me their information, and obviously one of their in-house staff who speak English, so they spent millions on the hospital, but then their first appearance to someone to read about them was just a joke.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it just hurts me that people don't realize perhaps the importance of coming across in whatever language in a way that's colloquial and or correct for the
Exactly.
country of who you're addressing.
This is the main goal that we have at Marbella Translators at the end is bringing people together and making it easy for expats, for example, in Marbella, that, we have more than 140 different nationalities. Imagine when you arrive here and you have this language barrier and you need help. And of course, as you say, you go to the hospital and you see these terrible translations, what image we're giving to these people. It's really sad that we don't, or some companies don't realize how important it is to rely on professional translation. It's not the same translating a medical brochure or some commercial translation, the website of an hotel. You have to know how to write, how to express. You have to have a good knowledge about literature. It's not the same making an official sworn translation, which has to do with legal terminology, scientific terminology. It's so wide, and the world is of languages is so big that it's really important. And this is one of the things we do at Marbella Translators, not only to choose the native translator, but also the specialist into the exact
in the field
exactly.
Yes. It's so important. One of my dear friends in Madrid is also a translator and for an international company, and I see the amount of controls and checks and people to have the translations be just right. It is a science. It's not just sit down because I'm English and I'm going to do a translation.
And big companies have even like their books with their own terminology. They want some products, for example, to be named exactly the same in every brochure, and it's really amazing. It's a
more
world.
aspects. It's not just translating. It's corporate image. It's everything.
Yes.
Again, similarly, when we mentioned with Cherise, you think lawyer, a lot of money. You think translators, but it's not a lot of money. It's actually very, very reasonable, very worthwhile. But I think also worth noting is you're not just a company that you send a translation to be done. You also do a very personal, hands-on service. So if somebody needs to go to
Exactly.
the police station to pick up paperwork or the hospital. Tell us a little bit about the not so typical services of a translating company.
And it's very funny because at the very first beginning, when I got the ratings from my clients at Google, I was a little bit worried because everybody was talking about the good service Barbara had given. And I was like saying, oh gosh, this is not so professional because it's not only me. Logically, I have my team of professional people. And then I realized that this is probably the difference between sending or working with Marbella translators or working with any other translator or agency, because it's me who is going to be in charge that this work is perfectly done, delivered on time, and the quality is 100%, and I'm always there at any time. I have my WhatsApp always burning. And well, I even had the other day an old Russian couple. You know, at Google you have to put your address. I don't have an office open to the public. We only work online. So I have my home address. And they appeared 4 o'clock on a Sunday at my home. And they couldn't, hardly speak some English. And I had to do some copies for them, give them all the information. And at the end, my husband was like saying like, that's crazy that people is coming at 4 o'clock on a Sunday and you're giving them attention. And I said, yes, because it's like as if would be my mom or my dad in a foreign country. And I think this service and this taking care of the people is what makes us different. No,
I want to cry. I mean, it's
no, but we want to. I want to take care of people, and this comes naturally out of me. I feel good when I do that, and I was not sure if they were going to do the translation with me or not, but it was just a question of
you had to help them,
helping these people. This is how it works, because I'm not 100% Spanish. I'm half German and half Spanish, so I've always felt in my whole life a little bit different. Because you're not 100% Spanish and you're not 100% German. You're always different in whatever country you are. So this feeling of not being
understood, perhaps.
Exactly. Culturally, I mean, not only because of the language. So I think this is what I love to do, and I discovered that this is my goal, to bring people together and to help through. To break these language barriers.
Well, I think you summed it up beautifully in the sense of you have what is a traditional language translating company.
Yes.
However, the personal validation by yourself and the fact that you're always overseeing everything, and then you always have that personal touch. It's not just doing translations. You're helping someone buy a home.
Yeah.
You're helping someone secure their investment. You're helping somebody even just find out what to do, where to begin.
And when you see people saying, oh gosh, thank you so much, because, well, the other day some British family had lost one of the birth certificates from their children, well, the sworn translation, and we had to do them the night before. I think it was like 7 o'clock when this man contacted me. So I quickly called one of my sworn translators, because we're always, at the end you surround yourself by people who are like you are. So I just called Nieves quickly. She was cooking, and I said, Nieves, can you do me a favor? Can you do that? And this man is going to be there in 2 hours, 10 o'clock at night at your home to pick up the translation. And we did that. And this man was really so happy, and oh, you saved my life. And it's not...
it's the best marketing that you can have.
Exactly.
Genuine appreciation for genuine actions.
Yeah, if someone is having a big problem and you can help, why not? No, let's do it. And this is what makes us happy and makes us love our work. Yeah.
Well, no wonder. I mean, it's like I'm sitting here so proud of you, so happy for you. And having also, when we do our events, I've had translations with Barbara. Again, it's just when you see the bad translations is only when you really appreciate how good you need a good translator. So for events, for personal circumstances, basically you cover everything that a foreigner could need here to be understood.
Businessmen or women that need their website to be translated into languages. We offer 25 languages just in one office. And menus, we've been working for a long time for El Corte Inglés too. Dani Garcia do their social media translations, you know, that they have to translate every now and then some sentences into different languages. We work with publicity agencies. It's really, it covers everything.
Varied and fun.
Yeah, and it's great fun because you can just be me. I revise things, so some construction brochure, some new wood material, and it's interesting to read. And then suddenly you're revising some yoga information. So it's really
great. So it makes you very knowledgeable as well about what's going on.
Yeah, really.
This lady knows. Anyway, we're going to have to leave it there for today. Barbara, lovely to see you again. Marbella translators par excellence. And thank you guys for joining us once again to meet these really lovely people who make up our international community. We have so much to offer one another, so much we can do to help each other. So be nice to yourselves, be nice to one another if you can, and please do watch, like and share the recordings of the programme, which you can access through rtvmarbella.tv website, or you can go to my website nicoleking.es for links to the programme, also to my weekly column Marbella Moments in the Euro Weekly News, and our Zero Hero website, which is one of the United Nationalities of Marbella initiatives rewarding the designated driver with free soft drinks in really cool places like the casino, the harbour, the Hogan stand, many places. Check it out. Take care of yourselves. Hasta pronto. Bye for now.
You'll open up your eyes wide. You feel it's gonna